Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. Tron is in town, so we are covering all three Tron films here. So we're jumping back to 1982 for the OG Tron, and that's directed by Steven Leisberger. We then have from 2010, Tron Legacy. That's directed by Joseph Kosinski. And finally, 15 years later, now in theaters, newly playing, we have Tron Ares, and that's directed by Joachim Roning. So, stay tuned and enjoy the show. Mr. Vincent Daly sitting across from me. How are you doing?
Tommy boy, how's it going?
It's going okay on my side of
Props
the table.
to you for that director pronunciation.
I had to look it up.
Hopefully he never gets a job again because I don't want to ever pronounce his name.
Yeah, so the director this week is Norwegian, I think.
Yes.
And you look at how it's spelled, and it's just like, I don't know. I literally spelled it out on my sheet with a Y. I just began it with a Y.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, how do you get yo from R, but whatever. Joachim Roning.
That's great.
We had a Tron week. I was thrilled about this week. I was kind of super pumped. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I watched everything. Watched Tron Legacy 1.5 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Double dipping a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
How about you? How was your week?
Week was good. I honestly enjoyed this week a lot just because I haven't watched, especially the first two Trons, forever. I mean, especially Legacy was
Has it been that long for Legacy?
Yeah, Legacy, I mean, I feel like I probably watched maybe, once or twice, I'm sorry, 2 or 3 times in, the year that it came out. But
okay.
I never returned to that movie, so... That was super nostalgic. I mean, for obvious reasons we'll get into, But yeah, I mean, it's been a weird week. I mean, the trilogy the box office never wanted, and yet we have a trilogy on
which I'm all about.
Yeah.
We'll get into if the Tron 4 is going to happen.
Yeah.
The director wants it to happen. I hope it happens, because I think it's actually going to be the best Tron movie, but I hope it's not with the current director.
Right.
So we'll see how that kind of plays out. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Any notes? Anything to start with? Or
no, we can get right into it.
Do we think people care about Tron, actually?
I think decidedly not, but maybe...
The box office was less. I think
we care about Tron.
I think they were expecting a $55 million opening. 50 to 55 is what it was tracking for. Mm-hmm. Made 33, not great. And it has apparently budgeted $200 million.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't shocking anymore for things, but it is a little surprising.
It is a little bit surprising. And I just wonder what's at play there, because Tron as an IP kind of tough in the box office all through its lifespan. They've always wanted to swing big with Tron and never really connected with it.
I know.
But then it makes me wonder. I mean, there is online, almost beyond to the point of me caring about it, is some serious backlash against Jared Leto. So I wonder if that's just enough to push it into stinker territory.
But he's still. Oh, you think what do you mean, review bombing
from
the critics? Or?
Who knows? Maybe a little bit of that. Maybe just a little bit of boycotting. Mm-hmm. It's definitely like an Ezra Miller scenario where
it's not that bad. No. It's not that bad.
Okay, fair. I really don't honestly care about the controversy side of it, but and also Ezra Miller is crazy. But the effect where it's a poison pill, the actor it should be the biggest, promoting feature of the PR circuit. It's actually a poison pill.
And they toned him down a little bit. Yeah. Now, I was thinking they were going to try to shut him up a little bit more, but I think he was on Fallon. I think he was making rounds. I think this has to come with I just don't think anyone cares enough about Tron. That's the problem. But I love that they did, and I didn't watch any of the animated series.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Main vocal cast Elijah Wood, by the way.
Oh, really?
So I kind of have to watch it now.
One
season, I think.
In the weeks leading up to this, I dipped a toe into the hardcore Tron fandom, which is basically debating what the different colors mean of the programs, which, I guess coming from a Star Wars perspective, I can't really talk too much because they are just like colors.
Tron fanboys are probably just looking for something to bitch about to make it seem like they have a place on the internet.
In nerddom. Yes. But no, they really don't.
I would like to be one. I mean, I'm down.
Sure, but part of that, they always say that this animated series, I don't know, it came out on one of Disney Channel things that they produced. Everyone says it's amazing. Everyone says it's like great animation, very cool, very
18
stylistically.
episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm down. And,
so, I mean, that's their leg to stand on.
And the reason that was made is that takes place, and that shows the events in between Tron and Tron Legacy. So it does have a place in the lore as well.
Absolutely.
I am shocked that we got this film, Tron Ares, just because Legacy didn't have the boom it was expecting, but it had enough for Disney. I think another reason why they need to keep this going is, let's just say this does hit. There's plenty of toys to go off of.
Right.
They could continue with shows.
Yeah.
And Disney has theme park rides based on Tron.
Yes. That, continuing the IP
they don't want to get rid of yet.
Exactly. Helps them keep it at least in recent memory that if you're at the theme park, you're like, oh, yeah, I'll go on a light bike ride,
Exactly.
So
it keeps it in the water table.
Exactly.
I was thrilled that it was happening. And we were friends in 2010 yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
We were new friends, but okay, we were excited about
we were definitely, we saw this in theaters together.
We did see it together.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And there's one other that I'll bring up, but we'll save that for the Legacy.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, we just have Tron. Let's jump back to 1982. I don't really know this director all that much, Steven Leisberger.
Yeah, this thing is pretty much the most famous thing he does.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know where you want to take it first or how you want to do it, but why don't you just set up Tron? What is it about? And we'll take it back and forth.
Yeah. Well, we kind of want to set up some background to the type of world Tron puts out there, because you can call this a sci-fi adventure, but really my kind of argument for this first one and kind of what leads into the second one is actually more so like a sci-fi fantasy world that we're entered into. In 1982, the average understanding of computers might as well have been a magical box for the layman. Right. So often the writing in TV shows and film was either extremely basic or leaned into computers as wild sci-fi devices that kind of made your dreams come true. Recently, we encountered this on the podcast as well with The Awful Superman 3, where Richard Pryor starts embezzling money, basically speaking requests into the computer like it's an AI chatbot. But throughout the decades, there are just countless examples of what I'm going to be calling here this kind of fantastical technology writing, where it uses the audience's ignorance of computers to craft a story that lives beyond hardware limitations. You also have great examples in the same decade, 1983's War Games, John Hughes's Weird Science in 1985.
Yeah, definitely.
Jump to the 90s, and, while technology is becoming the fiction in genres like cyberpunk, movies like Hackers or Johnny Mnemonic are still making a story out of just like nonsense understandings of technology. Like, this is not how technology works. And what you see happen in Tron is that programs are given personality, programs are given a persona in a way that it's not really like hardcore sci-fi. It leans more towards a fantastical kind of world building, a fantasy world building.
Yes. But I mean, yeah. It's sci-fi, though, right?
It's sci-fi.
It's sci-fi fantasy adventure.
I think,
Let's not split too many hairs here.
I'm splitting hairs. But especially for this first one. I mean, today, talking about Tron, it's possibly the earliest example of what I'm highlighting in making technology work like fantasy and crafting a sci-fi adventure for all ages as we enter into the cyberspace world. All programs share the grid. Within the machines of Flynn's arcade exists a world of their own, where programs have a personality and perhaps even a consciousness of their own. Two things govern their lives, though: the tyrannical whims of master control and their own belief in the user as their religion. Jeff Bridges plays Flynn in the real world, a crack programmer of his own that is thrown out of his evil company Encom when his game designs are stolen by the equally evil CEO Dillinger. Flynn has some help on the inside, however, and when he finds himself transported into the computers he loves so much, he learns that Master Control has darker aspirations than mere games. Also, I think over the arc, the biggest arc of this series is that Encom gets some whitewashing. Encom is an evil 80s corporation, and by Tron Ares, it is like basically like put on a pedestal like Apple. Like it's just like, no, we need to highlight. I am blowing the whistle on Encom, you know. This is a shady corpo.
It is true. It is true. Because there's steps to it too, from the first one to Legacy to Ares. Yeah.
Exactly. But I gotta tell you, folks, this is not how you pace the start of a movie. This is hell, not even how you pace the finale of any movie, no less a big wannabe blockbuster. I feel like the biggest thing that I have coming off of watching this again is that, man, this is just trying to be Star Wars and really falling short of being Star Wars or being exciting like Star Wars. It really wants that sweet, sweet Star Wars money coming out of the 70s, but considering how that's kind of the formula of us being, jumping into this world, it just takes a hot minute for anything to happen in this movie. And, it did hurt my rewatch of it a bit.
We're talking about you're talking about everything leading up to the grid, right? We're talking real world.
Yeah, real world, definitely. But I do enjoy certain aspects of that. But in the grid as well, it's just kind of like, whoa, man. Get me to something. Get me to something.
Really?
Here. Yeah.
Okay, I was
pulling teeth a tiny bit.
Oh, I had a different experience for me.
Really? I thought you said you fell asleep watching this.
It was late.
I mean, well, that's also like
it was late.
A blanket experience across all potential movies.
Exactly. It was late. So what happened was, no, I haven't seen this. This is the one I haven't seen in the longest because I think I watched it right around when I watched this. I think before I knew anybody, kind of on my own. I watched it, and then Legacy got announced.
Yes.
So I found out about it before Legacy was announced. I was like, are they going to redo this? And then that's when the news came with Jeff Bridges. It was a very cool deal. I was just like, oh my God, they're bringing this back.
Yep.
So the last time I watched it was probably right around 2010, 2011. And I remember when I gave it a rewatch back then, when Legacy came out, I was like, this movie kind of sucks. This movie sucks. Different experience this time. I actually really liked I kind of maybe even liked the first 45 minutes the most.
Really?
If that's what you're saying that you didn't love.
Interesting.
First of all, it's only an hour and 36 minutes.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
It lost me at the tail end of the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as soon as they hit the train. And that's kind of the same for Legacy as well. I don't know why this freight train sequence survived in the edit, but I totally agree that.
But I was digging Flynn. I was digging the other two.
Okay.
I like the real world aspect because Encom as a villain, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm down with.
Right. It's evil 80s corporation.
And then him getting into the grid, I enjoy the grid in the first part of being there rather than the last. So it's just a different experience.
Interesting.
Returning back to it.
Yeah, I think for me, when I was looking at this, through a lens of what we've commented before on how rough Disney had it in the 70s and the 80s, particularly, this stumbles in the same way that all of their live action stumbles during this time before Disney Renaissance, which we've commented on.
It's a very weird period for Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And this is you look at the 80s, even just a summary of like what movies Disney was releasing in the 80s, this is by far the most notable. I mean, I feel like, if anything, a lot of people haven't seen how rough Disney had it in these 2 decades because it's just like no one saw those movies, period. In some ways, this does create a template, Tron specifically, for the whole franchise moving forward, as all of the visual fidelity of these 3 movies, it all boils down to a specific style that is nailed down here, which I want to get to in just a second, but also blocks of the story being a tiny bit boring from time to time. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's just
Talk about a theme.
Yeah, I don't know why this is the theme in Tron, but we got some boring chunks as like necessary medicine of this franchise.
It's more talky talk than you think.
Yeah, I just don't understand, like, why is this upheld?
At times I'm cool with it, and at times it's like, can we hurry it along? Like, give the kids something to get excited about.
Yes.
Because it is a kid's movie after all.
Exactly. And that's where I'm coming from with, like, this is clearly trying to get sweet Star Wars money and falling pretty short of that goal, honestly, of making, like, a really fun sci-fi adventure, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Moderate. It was somewhat a success, too. It wasn't a complete box office failure.
Right.
To your point of this was the most successful of the not-so-successful Disney era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, the biggest hook, and I would say the biggest potential hindrance for all of these movies this week is the technology they used to create it, and how the first to stand the test of time was something that I was specifically interested in checking them out. For OG Tron, I think I'm really 50-50 on it. The Atari 3D animation style is ambitious for how bad it looks. Sometimes it looks really, really rough, but I am kind of softer on it from when I originally watched it. I feel like I'm coming with a much more appreciation here on the style. You know, recently I've kind of opened my mind to wireframe graphics being a style. I fell in love with a PS1 game called Rez. This also kind of works in like a vaporwavy kind of way. But
you just said a bunch of words that no one understands.
Okay.
But you don't have to explain it. We can follow the breadcrumbs.
Vaporwave kind of in an internet style. PS1 game Rez. It's really good. Check it out. But, it's my appreciation of this is that the world itself in this universe is meant to be simple. It is meant to be a reflection of the programs that are being personified.
Of the time.
So if, this goes into what I enjoyed about the world building in this film, that if these programs are going to understand themselves as primitive accounting software or game programs, that's what crafts their society. That's why we have these segments that they use gladiatorial games, because they understand life to be a game.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. I mean,
I like it. It's great.
So my experience was, I kind of had the same roller coaster ride with you. So again, first time I saw it, I was like, boy, is Tron kind of cool. And this was probably 8th grade or something like that. Mm-hmm. Then I returned to it again. And it's, this sucks. And now, I don't know if it's older age, whatever. I can't say I was sitting there saying I have appreciation for this animation, that we're in it's a lot of horrible animation. But I was sitting there enjoying myself saying, this is charming.
Yes.
We are so removed from 1982 graphics.
Yeah.
And what inside of a computer would look like if it was alive and bustling.
Yep.
Something about it is charming in a way that I was able to sit there and not be rolling my eyes.
Yeah.
And you know me. I can't watch, and I'm very bad at watching anime, because with anime, it's very still shots. Sometimes the mouths aren't moving. There's something I just can't connect to.
Sure.
I can't stay focused. This film, with how basic these graphics are, the CGI is such a joke. Yeah. I would be primed to hate this.
Yeah.
And yet it gives you enough, and it's so far removed from that era. That charming is the word that kept on coming up.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I like being here. Only thing is...
You like the grit.
Right.
The old grit.
Until the end, where things are happening that are supposed to be big, not only thematic moments, but tense building moments. But it's hard to feel tense when I'm watching just digital blocks hit each other, and they're not big moments anymore.
For sure.
And I think that's where it's in the beginning. I'm like, being in this world, okay, it looks horrible.
Yeah.
And yet I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. And I feel like there's also, they not only was, and not in like an excuse type of way, but not only were they trying the best they could, but this was also, them adapting once again for an audience that has no clue what computers are. So, or
not more than anything more than arcade or Atari or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just thought put into the fact of like this world that's created is from the programs that they have in 82 and definitely plays into the world building. Let's not get it twisted, though. In some spots, it does look like legit horrific. How, as much as the light cycles have stood the test of time as being like the icon for the franchise, their scenes are by far like the worst. Like by like a country mile, the light cycles look awful, like so bad. Something
Dude,
about
it all
like
looks bad.
It
Dude,
moving and like no wheel moving on it, and it's just like a static model being dragged across the screen in Photoshop. Basically, like that's how it looks. It's basically like that.
Again, at the end, when you have ships colliding with ships and the train, it all looks horrific.
Yeah.
It's all terrible.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, using different animation techniques in other parts of the movie, I really appreciated. Achieving this backlighting effect to the grid was, I think, stylistically great. And in ways, I was looking at this and I said, well, it's hard to really compare to the newer Neon films, but I see the artistry in the backlighting animation that they do to light up the suits and everything like that as kind of, I don't know, I wish something like that, a mix of that would come back to replace some of just like neon everywhere.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
In 2010, that was cool. I feel like I was maybe looking for something creative like that done in Ares to maybe meld the two a little bit. One of my favorite artists that I've mentioned on the show before, Mobius, serves as concept artist on the film, and I think it's just a great example of sci-fi work as a true originator. Yes, this might be copying or wanting the success of Star Wars, but Tron is its own. It is an original. There's something
It really
unique
is.
here. Yeah.
You know what's funny about Tron? Where so many movies try to get made because they're successful video games, and almost all of them fail.
Yeah.
This was based off a fictional video game. This wasn't even an actual arcade game.
Yeah.
This spawned the arcade game that exists today.
That people wanted the light bikes enough. That was a cool enough concept of like blocking people's paths.
Yeah, if anything, it's just like, what a great psyop. If there was an arcade guy who was like, I want to invent a great arcade game.
Yeah.
No, let's make the movie first.
Let's make an expensive style.
You don't get that. I feel like you don't get that often where movie comes first about kind of a game and then game gets developed.
Yeah, absolutely. All the visual effects and again this backlighting animation that Disney used, the sparks during fights, the details of the circuitry on
what
the
did
costumes.
you think of the skin? Like everyone's skin, very pale.
Oh, loved it.
Okay.
Loved it. I love the paleness to it.
You did like it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know stylistically why they went with that so pale, but I think it looks cool. Yeah. But like the detail in the costumes, the swoosh of the memory disc, maybe most of all the sound design this one that sells it. This first game that we come across with Flynn once he gets into the grid is like this. It looks like something now of the '90s, but like this hoop. This hoop ball.
Yeah. So if you have a scoop, picture a dog toy.
It's dog toy territory.
A dog catch a throw toy where you have like this half scoop and you put the ball in the half scoop and you chuck it and makes the ball go far.
Yep.
They're playing this game with those things basically.
Yeah, but like how the sound design in that entire scene, I was thrilled with all that.
You're right. Actually, I wasn't thinking too much of the sound, but I feel like it's super important too because it's even with them walking. Like a lot of times there's steps or something like that.
It has like a reverb to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of cool.
But I don't know. I just have a huge appreciation for old movie techniques, particularly clever movie tricks that pay off. Our stop motion special is like all evidence of that. So, while I walked into this rewatch honestly expecting the worst when it came to graphics and just like the visual style of it, I found a lot more to appreciate. I really did. So kind of pulled in two different directions. I feel like I was a little bit more critical writing and pacing wise, but I was a little bit more sold on the ideas of Tron, the world building and the actual style of everything.
I'll be honest. I was surprised. Again, I didn't have appreciation for the visuals. I just liked them enough and thought they were cute. So I was okay with being there.
Charming.
And I was surprised with the pacing where before I thought it was a really boring movie, I was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The whole movie? No. But I think I was in a little bit more than you with the story and that first 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the reason why Tron has its hooks in you and me for the most part, and why we could maybe call ourselves soft fanboys
of Tron,
where I get a little excited, and It's just the fact of like, how cool is it you're inside a computer and you have users and you have programs and you have good programs and bad programs. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you get to on a microscopic level and them fighting each other.
Yeah.
And what does that world look like? Like, Disney does have something. And I think that's another reason why it's like, it's a cool concept. Why don't we just return to it?
Absolutely.
Can't we just do it right? Which the answer is no, not yet.
yeah, for real. But I think
But
that
it gets our hook. That's the hooks.
Absolutely.
You and I are in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and that really boils down to my enjoyment of this is because of world building. And really any kind of world building, fantasy, sci-fi, or otherwise. The creative decisions made to introduce us to something new, to sell the world for us. I love the little things, that are like just like little details of this. I think, again, probably my best example is since NCOM partly develops games, that ripples into the society of the grid and how they understand their lives. Also got to shout out that Pac-Man radar in that one screen. Always a nice touch. At the same time, I still think my existing score might be just a touch too generous, but...
Oh, it was rated before that.
Oh,
right.
yeah. Because I just think it really boils down to it. For a movie that is designed to be a blockbuster adventure, a kid's blockbuster adventure, sometimes it was just slower than I could really imagine. So with that said, we are going to give Tron 1982, the old score was a 68, we're going to bump that down to a 65.
Okay,
slight bump.
That's fine. A 65% for the original Tron. Still, for the movie?
Slight knockdown.
Again, folks, if you watch the film, just remember... The graphics are really bad. Okay, because 65's not. That's actually 65 is a classic good movie.
Yeah.
For us.
Mm-hmm. And I would stand by that. I really would. 68. I mean, might be splitting hairs, but I think it was just
I like the subtle.
too much.
I like the subtle tweak.
Yeah.
And I gave my thoughts already. I really went into it. So I watched Legacy first. In fact, then I watched. That's right, because we watched Ares, and then I went home and turned Tron on.
Okay.
And then fell asleep to it. Or I don't know, I don't even know anymore. But the point is,
in the dream state.
I was a little bit, I was nervous to return to this.
Sure.
Because I didn't want to hate it. Mm-hmm. And that nice, bright surprise of like, I actually kind of like this.
Right.
And it's like, oh, wait, is this movie kind of fucking awesome? At times. It kind of has you a little bit, was very cool. And I have so much more appreciation for even the newer films a little bit after watching this because the tasteful, call them Easter eggs, call them just nods to the original. Mm-hmm. I like that Tron... It set something up. It set the idea up of some things that at least gave a springboard to future films.
Absolutely. I think that's what Tron Legacy, the second one, does very well. It takes all of that and treats it as very serious mythos.
Yeah.
Like, it takes everything that this silly-ass movie in the 80s put forward and says, like, no, this is, like, seriously our world. Like, this is how we have to...
We'll get into Legacy because, I want to almost jump off of that then.
Yeah.
First, I want to say with Jeff Bridges, I was watching it. It's when he first gets into the grid and he goes into the prison cells.
Yep.
And he's dealing with, the Tron is there and Ram is there.
Yep.
I was getting serious Han Solo vibes from him.
Yeah.
And to your point of it being kind of Star Wars, and I'll bring that up later in Legacy because the vibes I was getting, but he was acting... I was just wow, he's kind of like acting like Han Solo right now.
Yeah.
And I had forgot when it first came up, but he did audition for Han Solo.
Oh, really?
Well, there's rumors that it was actually offered to
Jeff Bridges
over
Harrison
Ford,
Ford.
and then he declined it.
Wow.
But no matter what, he was in like the final 3 for it.
Interesting. And Jeff Bridges, he has a TV career before this? Nothing really big?
He was in some movies.
Okay.
Not mainstream, not huge movies.
Sure.
I remember watching a very... Years and years ago, I watched a Western when he was like practically a kid, like a teenager.
Wow.
So he was been in the business for a bit, and just his vibe. There's a lot of Han Solo-ness going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head as that prison scene. That is basically just the Death Star. You know what I mean? Like that's when they're writing it in the room. Like it's just like, all right, we need this type of scene.
He gets into like the red costume at one point, and I'm like, this is some Han Solo stuff right here. But anyway. So 65% for Tron. Let's keep that going into Tron Legacy now. And this was 2010. And once again, I think I saw Tron in 08 probably. Somewhere around 07, 08 on my own.
Okay.
We become friends. Tron Legacy is announced as a friend group. Now we're all get excited.
Yes.
And it was kind of a big deal when this came out. Commercially successful, kind of. But it didn't have the Disney hit. It also didn't make a huge star from our lead actor, Garrett Hudlund.
Yeah.
Who plays Jeff Bridges' son in it. Mm-hmm. And I think they were taking a risk. I think he was a bit of a no-name name.
Yeah. I think he holds up as well as an acting performance here, but it's just more so...
At the time, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't have it.
Yeah.
He didn't have the juice.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have it coming off of it, and the success of the film was good enough, but not fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I said this to you, we were in the car this weekend together, and my biggest thing is going off the Star Wars idea was this is the one that feels like Star Wars meets Blade Runner. If Star Wars and Blade Runner had a baby inside of a computer, that's Tron Legacy to me.
Absolutely.
And if the baby was a little bit boring. Seriously.
Which might be Blade Runner, right? To be fair. I love Blade Runner, but yeah, I mean, what you're picking up is cyberpunk. It is trying to be cyberpunk.
Oh, it's cyberpunk-ish, but not full-on cyberpunk. This isn't Steam Battle Engines. What's it?
Steam Battle Engines.
Come on.
Mortal Engines?
Yes, Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines isn't cyberpunk. That's steampunk. I like the callback, though.
Oh, I thought you said Steam.
No, cyberpunk.
I'm sorry. My wires are all crossed. That's hilarious.
But also, I've never seen Mortal Engines, and I'm waiting for Peter Jackson to release a new movie so I can watch Mortal Engines. Because I really want to watch how... apparently, it's horrible, but...
All right. Well, I f***ed that entire intro up.
No.
Tron Legacy 2010. Jeff Bridges is back, and he's the main pull.
Yes.
We also have 13 from House.
Yeah.
Who is hot and kind of on the rise. Literally, at that time.
Wild. Yeah. Also, like, extreme,
Come on.
smoke show.
This is what everybody was talking about at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then New Kid on the Block, this Garrett Hudlund guy that, again, no one was like, oh, Garrett Hudlund, he's an up-and-comer.
Before or after this,
right.
Which I think is your
point.
This
wasn't his Austin Butler Elvis moment.
Sure, right.
Which for his age...
No one was remembering it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, take us back there, set up the film. I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, I feel like if there's any evidence of a fossil date for the ratings, it might be this movie right here, or at least the earliest to get a score, period, in what we talk about, like the early days of doing
that original
scores.
50 I always bring up.
Yeah. Exactly.
The original Tron was probably part of that.
Yes, exactly.
We did this together.
That's what I mean. Tron Legacy and Star Trek 09 are movies I just very clearly remembering checking out with you, Tom, and being hyped for them beforehand as well.
Big moment.
big. Star Trek 09 too. We got the poster that day too. It was really great.
No, we got we saw one of the very first showings of Star Trek Beyond together, and that's what the poster's from. Yes.
No way.
Yep, we got dinner. We weren't even driving when the first Star Trek came out.
Wait, no, I think it's Star Trek 09. Because Into Darkness is the second one.
That's what I mean. Into Darkness is what it's, yes.
That's what we got the poster for?
I promise you. Maybe you got a poster for both.
That's a shittier movie.
Maybe you might have gotten you might have got it for both.
Okay. I thought it was 09.
Well, and Watchmen we were excited for.
Yeah, true.
These were the early...
That was even earlier.
Yes, folks who's listeners, this is early Tom and Vin friendship.
Like solidified. But regardless of when like the actual tracking of the scores started, this was a movie always kind of fresh in our memories that would have been in the earliest of batches to figure out where kind of movies stood for me. And I feel like that's where this score comes from, and I really do stand by it. Let's start with just that. All the way back then, I gave the sequel a 70 on the dot, and I honestly think that's very telling. Tron Legacy for me has always been a real solid movie. Not super great, not bulletproof, but a lot of parts to enjoy about it, a lot of things to love, and I'm happy to say I still 100% agree with that statement. A real solid movie. Tron Legacy is one hell of a trendsetter, though, because all the way back in 2010, this was a legacy sequel to dig up an old 80s property to bring it back to theaters. It's a sci-fi adventure that hits many of the same beats as the first, for kind of better or worse. It's kind of labored by really trying to be the first, but with a much-needed coat of paint to bring it into the 21st century. Flynn's return into the real world was brief but impactful, speaking of the grid he discovered, but soon leaving the real world behind once again, including his very real son, Sam. Now grown up, Sam infiltrates his father's old stomping grounds at Encom, the company itself growing far beyond the scope of games and into full-on operating systems that are found in computers worldwide. Like his father, he finds a way into the grid, now less of an abstract world and transformed into a full cyber cityscape with new tyrannical control in power to boot. Clue and the mysterious Rinsler have been deadlocked in their match to fully take over the grid, and now Sam must find the only dude that can get them out, his father, Flynn. I'm just going to kind of start with like revelations I made because I haven't watched this movie in 15 years.
I can't believe you haven't returned to it. Can't believe it.
I mean, soundtrack, I got the soundtrack on wax. You got me that.
Calling back to your Phantom thread the other day.
Yeah.
Where you're like, since we started the podcast, Phantom thread has been one of the most listened to.
Yeah.
The soundtracks, for me, it's this right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great soundtrack, and Daft Punk kills it, but... revelations in 15 years of not watching this movie. Okay, until this rewatch, the whole Clue thing being Jeff's program from the opening scene in the first Tron, I mean, completely clear over my head. I was 100% oblivious to that.
But you know what? It can be over your head. It doesn't matter.
Right. They do give that one scene where it's like, it shows him creating Clue and whatnot.
Honestly, all you need is Jeff Bridges saying, I developed a program to try to be good.
Yes.
And then the program went bad.
Right.
Because think about it. We have to assume that kids are going to be watching this film in 2010.
Oh, for first time.
That's never watched the original Tron.
Yes.
So you need to build it. So the fact that that went over your head, totally fine. Yeah. But then when you go back and rewatch this and be like, oh, there's an Easter egg.
And then he gets transformed into red.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's maybe that's where the evil seed is planted. But just, clean over my head. Also, what goes from cute world building as a choice to, in the original, to have your real world self look like the digital self is now integral to the plot. Like, this is now inseparable plot evidence. Like, if you design a program, it has to look like you. Like,
in
iTunes looks like, every iTunes program in the grid looks like Steve Jobs. You know? Seriously, it is.
I'm cool with it, by the way. I'm fine.
I'm all right with that. Yeah, I think that's an all right thing. I already joked with you, Tom, about this on this weekend, but if the first was trying to rip off Star Wars, then this movie is absolutely trying to rip off The Dark Knight. The first 30 minutes of this are so Dark Knight coded, it's not even funny. I mean,
dude, I'm fine with it.
Corporate espionage, like he has like the big FU takeover. It's oh man.
Oh, the bike riding looks actually really good.
Yeah, nighttime bike riding.
But I was enjoying it.
Oh, absolutely.
This is in a sense PG Dark Knight / Star Wars has a baby with Blade Runner in a computer.
Father to Disney.
But it has even the color, the cinematography. It feels Dark Knight-ish in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think the bike scenes are a perfect example because it's the same type of cinematography of like that low swinging. Close, dude. And
by the way, kind of love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool bike too. He's got Ducati. Mm-hmm. I mean, like really great. My final revelation is all around Jeff Bridges. I had not seen The Big Lebowski. I watched The Big Lebowski for the first time on the podcast, year one of the podcast.
That's crazy.
I did not realize how much his character has just transformed into the dude from Big Lebowski. I mean, to the point of like hardcore laughs out of me that I was just saying, like,
okay.
Who thought they got their wires crossed? Like, what was this?
Well, then you haven't changed at all. The one thing I remember of seeing this movie with you, it's funny because in the beginning of the podcast, you were like, we saw it together, and I didn't remember.
Yeah.
I do remember you hitting me at one point because you were laughing at Jeff Bridges. He said something like digital jazz or something like that, and it has you going. I didn't love Jeff Bridges in the beginning.
Right.
Because I'm just like, why are you Jeff Bridges? You're getting Jeff Bridges everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, stop.
You can't separate it.
Clean it up.
Yep.
Second time around, I'm watching this film, and I'm like, this is awesome. They know they writ his character perfectly. They're crushing it. It honestly works fantastically.
Yeah.
Based on his character, just because it's in the computer and what he's talking about, I'm down.
Yeah. It's
I'm
unreal.
bought in completely to the character at this point.
I had some notes that I cut from the first one where, they have some very corny 80s lines like, oh, it's buggier than a beehive or something like that. It's just like, all right, that's not great. Jeff Bridges completely overrides all of that because he just does whatever he wants. It's not even like programming jokes.
It does seem like it's just like, hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Just do you for a bit.
Digital Jazz Man is a great line, but maybe not a great line
when
in
you
my
get
Tron movie.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's a beautiful thing. It's fantastic.
Oh man, but yeah, those are revelations of not seeing this movie for 15 years. So expect a similar segment if we ever cover The Godfather. So
I want to settle this now. Actually,
yeah.
I was kind of the original. The original rating was PG for Tron '82.
Okay,
that's fine because the rating system is nothing like what it was now.
Sure.
The new one is rated PG-13, and this 2010 one is still rated PG, which kind of baffles me. For this to be a PG movie, it almost wants me to bump it up even more.
Yeah.
What they're able to do with PG. I mean, there's hot ladies everywhere in this movie. And then they do
awakening for,
but I can't really see. I can't. But no, it's cool. It's got a cool vibe to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that the new one is PG-13, which I think they could have gone way further with that rating in the film. I think they could have got away with a lot more.
Tim, just even thinking about that loosely, it's pretty much one scene that comes to mind. That's it. You know.
And I don't know. The fact that this is still rocking just a PG shocks me that the film is even this good.
Yeah, and maybe to the point of like shocking that it didn't have more widespread success just because the PG, you know, it's just, you know, I don't know if you could drop off the kids to watch it, but I mean, it's something else. Folks, if you've listened for a while now, you know I love house music, and as proof of my longtime love of Daft Punk way before this, we actually already covered their own movie, Interstellar 5555, on an older episode. That is the Daft Punk movie, if you want to check out more of this after maybe checking out Tron Legacy for this week in anticipation or anything like that. And if there's really one reason why you check out this movie, it is for that wonderful Daft Punk soundtrack, and apparently why you watch the new one as well. It cannot be understated just how perfect of a match they are for this project, especially when you listen to this, even in comparison to the new one by Nine Inch Nails. The new one is way more techno, way more industrial, way more synthy than this one. This is a kind of a normal orchestral score with a dose of Daft Punk in it. You obviously
picked up on that too.
Yeah, you get some bangers in there, especially when they go to like the club on the grid and whatnot. You know, there are some things thrown in there, but I gotta give credit to this on an orchestral level. Like, this was an excellent score, and I feel like that's why it stands out. It has the best of both worlds.
When you listen to it, it shocked me going through the soundtrack again of how normal movie soundtrack it sounded. And I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Because you kind of just go for those banger songs.
Yeah.
You don't usually turn it on and then let it play completely when you do a movie soundtrack. Well, unless you're you, but
right.
And in a way, I had appreciation for it, and in a way, it almost made me like the Nine Inch Nails one better.
Oh yeah.
Because Nine Inch Nails were just like, no, we're gonna try to make some just cool songs on the majority of the tracks.
Yeah, pretty much every track is trying to be a banger.
But you're right as far as the orchestra part. Way more heavy than I remember.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I mean, there are elements of this in Daft Punk's career. They're always kind of flirting with like either orchestrated samples in the mix or trying to do different things spliced into it. You know, their very last album is evidence of that as well. That comes out after this, but it feels like they carried that over into it. But really, really just excellent.
A great get for Disney. By the way.
A great get, and I feel like has really stood the test of time for this movie of just like why you check it out. And I would say that's, you know, still to today. Visually, though, the movie's kind of cleaner sci-fi aesthetic also, I feel like, was formerly a bit of a trademark of our director, Joseph Kosinski, especially considering his next film in 2013 is Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Both movies, early 2010s, very sleek style, very clean sci-fi look. This is not like a used sci-fi aesthetic, though this movie might have started the curse of every movie poster in the 2010s using orange and blue for like the heaviest contrast as possible.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good pickup.
I feel like this I don't know. I mean, that's hard to tell who was first and whatnot. What was the trendsetter? This one probably
it's heavy blue. Yeah.
2010 on the dot.
Just the fact that this was directed by Kosinski now in the year 2025
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Again, so Joseph Kosinski, folks, he directed Top Gun Maverick, and then of course he just had F1 with Brad Pitt. Now, Maverick was by far his biggest film.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the biggest films in a long time or ever. But F1 still did very well.
Yeah.
And he's doing the new Miami Vice film. He was the executive producer on Tron Ares. He's one of the biggest names now in directing.
Oh, especially after Maverick.
And to go back, when I found that, I didn't even realize he was a director.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the credit, I was just like, what?
Wait, really?
We got Kaczynski on this? Well, when I first turned it on, yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like that's why I've always kind of kept an eye on them. And I'll stand by even liking Oblivion with Tom Cruise. I know that movie's kind of shit on now.
No, you always rep it. You do.
Yeah, but that was definitely in the days where I was just like, I wanted any sci-fi possible.
Yeah.
You know? So good or bad. Like I said in the last review, though, I think the wireframe graphics of the original was something I had to get used to, but as far as this movie holding up visually, I think it's a total inverse. This movie is pretty bulletproof, except for pretty much one issue that's a blemish on the film today. You know, when it comes to the aesthetics of the grid, it looks surprisingly good, and I think we can tie it to just a large amount of practical set pieces. This is not your current day blockbuster where so much of it is just pure green screen set.
Right.
So many objects, the costume work, the light bikes, that's all physical props. And I feel like that goes a long way to, even though this might look a little dated sci-fi wise of like what it's going for, its neon soaked aesthetic, there's something there that really holds up in a serious way.
It doesn't. Listen, when we first saw it in 2010, it looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look amazing now? No, but it looks passable. Even.
Yeah.
So I like this movie watching it again, and then, like I said, I watched this first out of anything this week.
Yep.
Then we watched Ares. Then I watched Tron. That's when I returned back to this.
Okay.
I kind of started to fall in love with this film.
Yeah.
Again.
Absolutely.
With all of its flaws, and part of the reason is some of the Easter eggs and whatever, it is PG, so you just have to drop the, like,
Sure.
this isn't adult enough. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not happening. It's PG Disney.
Right.
But it is shocking to think that this is 15 years old. It is 5 years older than the reboot of Star Wars in 2015. And the visuals are kind of getting it done.
Yeah.
And I know what you were about to say with the one exception, but for the most part, when you're on the grid and watching it, you're not upset by anything.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is because it ties to physical props.
It only enhances.
Yeah.
It enhances the experience.
That makes it just the tiniest bit more bulletproof to what age will do to a production
because
like
some
this.
things will always be real.
Exactly. I would say even the like disc games, when they're fighting each other and the glass is breaking through, basically the big ball game that we talked about in the first one.
Yeah.
Basically a modern kind of redo of that. I think another great example of just like, I feel like a modern film where the whole thing would be green screen would not sell it, where here we have actual like glass breaking and like little things in the actual set design that like make it stick a little bit more. And I it's full credit to Kaczynski on that, because that's his same mentality that he's bringing into his modern projects as well. That yes, there is CGI, but it's about a real grounded, something that you're feeling in the film is real in the production.
I think he's only kind of gone tenfold on that.
Yeah.
Where he wants more and more real.
Yep, exactly.
Which I love. Kind of why, if there is a Tron 4, I want him to direct it so badly. Because I think it's only going to be, it's only going to be heightened. It's only going to be exemplified.
It's going to gain momentum. Absolutely.
Because I will say, even with modern day, a lot of that stuff, even a lot of the suits that you see would probably be CGI.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, Disney coming off of Marvel, where their business model, I mean, look at the progression of Iron Man. This was all like practical suits, and then they're just like, well, for one reason or another, comfort, production quality, we can just do this all digital. And now that changes how the aesthetics look in the film, that Tony Stark taps his chest and it's just all nanobots and the suit forms. I feel like that takes something away from the tactile technology,
especially
the clunky, the bolts.
Especially 15 years later,
yeah,
where you still want to enjoy the movie.
Exactly. I feel like that, honestly, that could be a whole tangent on Marvel specifically of like why early Marvel still kind of hits and mid Marvel doesn't, but as it relates to production. But yeah, something that I think was a very, very key piece to why this movie has held up better. Granted, not nearly the amount of time between the original Tron and now.
Yeah.
But hold up. I feel like it's going to hold up better for longer.
I still think if we watch this 40 years from now, or whatever, this movie is 40 years old and you go back to it, are the visuals going to look good? No. But is it going to have enough heart in it, and something was taken care of enough where I'm going to be sitting there and saying, oh, this is charming at least.
Yeah, right.
The same effect that the original Tron has. Absolutely. I think this has it.
Yeah. The elephant in the room, though, I mean, oh my, if this film is known for one thing, it's a Daft Punk soundtrack, and then it's also CGI Jeff Bridges. This was long before Disney's facial de-aging technology became mainstream, really became mainstream once they acquired Star Wars. But, I feel like this has to be one of the earliest uses of it, and it's particularly pretty rough. I mean, online, I feel like it's largely been called wax figure Jeff Bridges.
That's very,
And that's a great description for it.
It does look like a wax figure of Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, so credit to whoever tweeted that first or whatever that got it to catch on, but... let me tell you, I mean, it just looks a little bit rough. It really is truly, once they're in the grid and we see this version of Jeff Bridges, it kind of blends a little bit with the digital effects around the whole screen. Really, the only one that stands out is our very first scene where that version of Jeff Bridges is, in the real world.
Whatever, though. Does it really bring the movie down?
I'm not saying whatever. No, but I'm not saying it brings the movie down. It's just something I want to note, Because it's
you're certainly thinking about it when you're looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't say it's bulletproof when it took a bullet. It took a bullet to the chest. I'm also just fine with the mentality of this being made. I commented on, that this is a legacy sequel before we knew what legacy sequels were, as far as digging it up. And I just like what they did with the world building here. There's enough of a gap that it feels the jumps in Encom, the jumps in Sam as a character, and the jumps in the grid are interesting enough for a technological leap forward to see, okay, what does the grid look like in modern technology? What does the grid look like with connected devices through Wi-Fi? These type of questions. Believe me, Tron is not the franchise you're going to get a lot of substance out of. This is not going to be deep diving into, you're really
the lore and everything.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. Yeah, it's surface
but
level.
I feel like all of this, like I said in the last review, this is a sequel that takes everything, silly or otherwise, that is set up in the first film and treats it as very serious. Treats it with gravity, you know what I mean?
This was the most probably impressive thing that I found watching it. That I was just like, holy shit, they kind of did it.
Yeah.
Meaning, you look at how basic Tron 82 is, 1982 is, and the fact that you go from there and to the next film being 2010, they kind of had to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
What does it look like? What does it sound like?
Right.
Because it's not like electronic house music was the soundtrack of the 82 film.
Right.
It wasn't.
It was an adventure
So as much as they had to go off of, they kind of also had nothing.
Yeah.
And everything from aesthetics to even keeping the storyline going and how much they doubled down on things, that's what I was most kind of blown away about. Where, again, I was a little bit nervous to watch this one, knowing I would like it, and it plugs on my heartstrings, so I'm going to like it more than other people.
Sure.
But now, after a watch and a half and watching the other two, so much more appreciation for this. And part of that is the doubling down and the actual creation that Kaczynski and the team needed to do.
Yeah.
To how do we bring this into the 2010s?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of that, I will say, even becomes a burden. We mentioned this freight train sequence. It's part of the finale in the first one. For some reason, they also thought it was required to put in this story as well. So some of that is just making a legacy sequel. They don't have the book written on it yet, but I feel like they have it where it counts, and it's all in that world building. It's all in that tech fantasy world building, and again, just treats the silliest concepts of the first one with gravity. That is the mythos for this movie. Yeah. I will say, even perhaps by doing this, maybe it loses some substance of its own world building, and that's where people kind of look at this and they say, oh, it's just kind of a stylish blur of neon. But our newest film throws even more out, and throws out, frustratingly, what was here, a story that had consequence for the future of the franchise, and in a way even covering more creative ground. But now our new film seems to want to cover the same creative ground as a little bit of a reset, and now it puts this film in a little bit of an awkward position. Nonetheless, still something you should check out, and I would say absolutely stands by the score. We're going to go ahead, and as we have given Tron Legacy 2010 a 70 on the dot.
A 70%. I love this score. It's very fair. Maybe I don't know if people agree with it or not.
Again, real solid movie.
It kind of is. I do want to make a note. it is slightly boring.
You're right.
The movie is slightly boring.
Much like the first.
And what I would like is a little bit more action, a little bit more oomph, a little bit.
Yep.
Come on. Can we just have fun in the grid?
Yep.
It's a little talky, emotional.
Let me say this. Would you prefer more games? Because obviously...
It's not the games I want.
These first two films are...
Chase.
Oh, just more chase.
I want chase scenes. I want to feel the threat that someone is behind us, so we got to go. Now, the first one kind of has that.
That's the hole that Tron Ares falls into.
The first one has it, but it just looks so terrible.
Yeah.
With this, it was just a little slow.
Yeah.
Do I love this film? Absolutely. And do I have a soft spot for it? Does it have a unique spot in my heart? Absolutely. I think for the every person, there's enough there where 70% absolutely tells you still that there is enough here. There's enough substance. There's enough coolness to the story, kind of, and visuals going on. So I'm not going to give it 2 shoes. I mean, listen, my brain says 2 shoes, and my heart says put a lace on one of them suckers. You know what I mean?
Listen, I'm fine with that.
No. We're going to leave it go, though. We're going to leave it go.
He doesn't want to dilute the scores.
But again, there is something I want to form a bridge with between Legacy and Ares, again, as far as how I feel about these films. But before that, we just want to remind people that Vin and I, the daily ratings here, we are completely listener-supported here. So, folks, you're not going to ever hear advertising on this podcast where we're going to shove ads in your face or take ad breaks constantly. You're also not going to see it on the website. You're not going to have any paywalls or tier structures where you need to give a little bit of money to gain access or gain extra content, like a Patreon where we force you to pay a certain number to get a couple specialty shows or something like that. There's no paywall here. There's nothing like that. We're going off the value for value model, which basically means that are you finding what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings valuable? Are you listening to the podcast? Are you stopping by once in a while? Are you using the website? Are you finding it useful? We look at that as value in your pocket. So can you send us value back in our pocket? And it's through monetary support. And that's why we say we're listener supported. So when you go to thedailyratings.com, head to the donations tab, and everything right there is laid out for you. There's some set donations, like buy Vin a movie ticket, Gump Club, become a Godfather. But also there's the big value for value button there because everyone's on their own finances and everybody's finances are different week to week. And on top of that, you might be getting a different value from another person. You might be listening to every single episode, or you're somebody that stops by 4 times a year, but you enjoy hearing what we have to say about 4 movies. So that's why you can peg your own monetary value, any amount of value that you want, and then send it our way. When you do donate in, remember to also send a producer note in. So this can be questions, comments, critiques, ask us anything, say anything. If you're going to be a producer, a legitimate producer of the Daily Ratings, we want to bring you into the conversation because that's what it's all about. So you can email us your note at tom.vin@thedailyratings.com. That's our email, and we'll address your note right here. I'll read it off, and if there's questions or comments, then Vin and I will kind of react to it, and that's kind of what we're starting to set up here. We thank all the producers who have produced in the past, and if you want to be a producer for next week's episode 209, again, go to thedailyratings.com, head to that donations tab, and yeah, again, we're listener supported. It's what it's all about. So we thank you all so much. Okay, Vin. So Tron Ares, now 15 years later, I kind of thought it was dead in the water.
Oh, yeah.
But I did know that they had some of the amusement park stuff. They did have some toys out there still.
Sure.
The soundtrack still exists.
Yeah, probably still sells.
But this got announced a few years ago. We knew about it. And it was supposed to come out, I want to say last year, but the writer's strike pushed everything back by a year.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Same cast attached to it and everything like that. I don't think anything's new with that. But we're back. It's Tron Ares, and
the trilogy the box office never wanted.
And it doesn't have to be a trilogy. Yeah, it still doesn't.
Still doesn't want it. I mean, why don't we, I guess, start with some box office performance? I mean, like...
Sure. I mean, yeah, we went through it.
Yeah.
It was supposed to get 50-55.
Oh, that's right.
It ended up getting 33.
We did.
Not what it wanted to do.
But... we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. You really think there's going to be a Tron 4?
So, Tron 4 is, if it's not, here's the thing. If this was commercially successful and had a boom, yes, we would get one. It would be fast-tracked. The fact that it's not going to do all that great, and honestly, by the end of it, maybe break even. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised it'll take another 10 years.
Yeah.
I actually think this story will continue. The question is how long? Is it going to be in 2 years, or is it going to be another 15?
The next technological leap. I kind of like that. It's a franchise that you check in with the tech.
It's a banger idea. But no, I don't see it happening with the fact that the box office it got. I don't see anything getting fast-tracked. But there is a setup there, one, in the film itself and post-credit stuff. There's a setup there. And then two, the team, the current director, Joachim Ronan, he did say he wants to do it.
Sure. He has interest in it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were both definitely kind of hyped for this. Frankly, though, I feel like all of my initial thoughts about this came to be true. Like I saw the first trailer of this, and my gut reaction was two things, and those two things became exactly true.
Same.
I was excited by the soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails, especially for the absolute tear that Reznor and Ross have been on with their film projects. I feel like this was, very exciting in the way that we talk about like the Challenger soundtrack, so unexpectedly good as far as like it being like danceable techno, house music. And then this is now just like going for that directly. Really great. Also very industrial to their style. But on the other hand, the entire cast, Jared Leto especially, left just a lot to be desired in a story that just looked to have more focus in the real world rather than transporting us to the grid. I'll give some slight credit to the trailers not maybe giving away some of the activity on the grid, which was exciting to see. But folks, I really walked out of the movie with the exact same takeaways that I had. That
with the trailer,
good soundtrack. Who cares about the cast? Who cares about the real world?
Okay, so my problem seeing the trailer, which I think we kind of talked about the other week.
Oh yeah, you held off for a while, right?
Oh, from the trailer?
One?
Yeah, until we were forced to see it because we watched another movie.
Yeah.
And it came on. So my biggest fear was watching the trailer. It was so real world heavy that my biggest thing was, I don't know if I like this. This seems like we're going to be in the real world a whole lot. And then two, the cast, mainly for me, Greta Lee. And I'm walking away saying, yeah, in the real world, way too much, and not a fan of Greta Lee, and for that matter, kind of the whole cast.
Yeah, for real. I don't feel like there's a single standout as far as this cast goes. And I'm not saying that was like a real big tenet or a real big pillar of quality for the last two movies. But
the question is, who do you like? Who do you enjoy the most? Or who do you like? Who do you least like the least?
Least like the least? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
Right.
it was that much.
Well, why don't you set it up and at least we'll what's it about at least?
Yeah, well, Tron Ares isn't quite an adventure in the grid we're used to, and instead becomes half of Disney's take on Terminator, believe it or not, and half the legacy sequel nostalgia bait that somehow a previous entry avoided for the most part. Setting the stage for the years in between these movies, Sam has stepped away from any involvement in NCOM and any involvement in the sequel, and now sparked an old rivalry with Dillinger Systems cropping up as a competitor in the market. The breakthrough technology they're racing towards is large-scale 3D printing, bringing the programs of the grid into the real world. The only issue is their stability deteriorates on a 29-minute timer without a piece of Flynn's genius called the permanence code, and something that will matter way more to the plot than you will think. I mean, like, way more. You were reminded of this 29-minute timer near constantly. In a soon-to-be timeless lesson, though, of AI prompts matter, Ares acts as the new master control to a line of cyber warfare ready to print on demand. And with such a powerful tool at his fingertips, Dillinger sends these programs on the hunt in the real world to chase after the code they need, held by the current NCOM CEO, Eve Kim. I think my thoughts on this really boil down to one simple aspect, and that there's just not nearly enough time spent on the grid. That's all it boils down to, honestly. I was ready, like I said, I was ready to give credit to the trailers for not showing off too much, but then you watch the movie and it just kind of makes total sense because there's barely any time spent there.
Yes.
So it's like you get that one scene of Greta Lee running in the streets of Seattle or probably Toronto where they're filmed or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of the movie.
Yeah,
it's one night. I feel like that's also, I want to hold back on how much this frustrated me. I feel like world building is the ball could not be more dropped. Like even a line explaining the time dilation that was explained in the first film or in the second film, where minutes, the
minutes
millicycles.
yes.
There's a different time passage in
That
the
is
grid.
so true. What a drop. You're
There
right.
could have been something there to, I don't know, build that into how the pacing was done in the film, or why is it overall one night?
You could have gone Inception.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's great.
That's what it is.
This should have just copied another Nolan.
Jeff Bridges actually kind of, what he does say in Legacy is an Inception thing.
Yeah.
Real world is real world.
Right.
But when you get yourself into the grid, it's seconds or hours.
Yes.
Real world versus grid. You're so right.
Yeah, that could have been.
Well, I'm so dumb I didn't even pick up on that, but now I'm even more annoyed with this film.
It's just a minor thing.
I want
too.
Tron Inception. You're absolutely right.
I want Tron Inception too. That's Tron 4. Unlike my praise around sci-fi and borderline fantasy world-building elements in these first two movies that they had, all of that is just thrown out for the novelty of the idea of what if Tron came to our world. I get that. That does have traction.
It's got
yeah, it's got a hook. For me, it's not what I was interested in Tron about.
Let that be the party trick.
Yes, maybe even the finale.
Yeah.
It was way too leaned into, to the point that all the programs spending time in the real world, especially for the chase element of these programs being used to hunt down Eve Kim, this character that Greta Lee plays, it's just Terminator. I mean, the formula is not Inception, it's not Dark Knight, it's not Star Wars, it's Terminator now. It's Disney's Terminator. And I don't think even that is that bad on paper.
No, on paper,
I feel like I could pitch that, but it's tough. I just outright hated the real world segments because they just were so painfully predictable. Everything in the real world, I understand that this is a kids franchise. It just felt so predictable at every single turn. You do get certain times that there are, I don't know, money shots. I feel like a great money shot is the light bikes on the highway cutting a car in half. That's just like, all right, that's great. That's new concept. That's something exciting to see the light bikes in the real world and see them interact with real world thing. But I'm just fully in the stance that anything they did with the programs in the real world just would have been 10 times cooler if we saw it on the grid. I think another part of this predictability is all the scenes around Jared Leto. His character, he's learning to be more than a program. What does that boil down to? It comes down to fish out of the water jokes. This brings us one of the most nightmarish car scenes between Greta Lee and Jared Leto, where it's just some of the clumsiest writing I've seen in a while. It's Jared Leto encyclopedically spitting back Greta Lee's character's entire history.
Exposition dumps.
Yeah, like vomiting it on her lap.
Okay.
And then just that's supposed to be in place for chemistry between the two of them that falls short already. I mean, I know we're blending into acting performances now. So.
No, that's fine. But this is the bridge I was talking about of Legacy to Ares.
Yeah.
So where I wanted to go with Tron Legacy, which I kind of had more appreciation with, was the emotions and the connection of the characters, mainly Sam's son and 13, Olivia Wilde's character.
I love that you always go to 13.
You kind of buy.
Yeah.
I buy the emotion, and this person is falling for this person a little bit, or this person has a connection, and things seem natural, and things are happening. All of that actually you feel that developing through the film. And in Ares, they completely fall flat, and it's the most forced thing and not earned.
Yeah.
The chemistry and almost the borderline romanticism that's going on there.
Yeah, totally failed.
It isn't earned at all. The comedy isn't earned. They didn't give us enough time with the characters individually or when they were together being normal to develop. They immediately, as soon as we're together, let's just go ahead and throw in expositions.
Yep.
Let's just do forced scenes. Let's do forced kind of gazing at each other.
Yeah, honestly, that whole car scene where they're...
what is going on here? This is horrible.
Yeah, whenever they have to show chemistry with each other... it felt like maybe reshoots. It felt in the territory of just something's not tracking here, which honestly, I feel like that takes away some elements of, I don't know, Ares as a character maybe learning things a little bit more organically. It felt like Jared Leto's performance, he just switched on the personality halfway through the film, where otherwise this guy was a robotic killer.
Well,
I'm not saying that's not the the character's arc is like becoming more human than human, but like it just it's just really, really just like felt so phony and so forced.
Well, to go on off of that, the shocking thing here is that Jared Leto was probably my favorite person in the film.
You know,
Greta Lee, which I cannot stand. I don't want to go. I don't want to hate Greta Lee. I like Greta Lee. I don't want to shit all over her.
I really enjoy her.
I just found before I knew what a Greta Lee was, and she comes on the morning show. She is so horrible. She's a horrible, horrible actress, in my opinion, on the morning show. And she's in the first. I didn't watch season 4. I watched most of. I watched. Whatever, season 1, 2, and most of 3.
Right.
And she's in 2 and 3.
Sure.
I just thought she was a horrible actress, and then people were freaking out about this. Not May, December. People were freaking out.
Past Lives.
You had this Past Lives movie. And I'm like,
she was legit great.
I was like, what? She has acting chops? What? Where is this coming from? And so then when I see her in Tron Ares, it's just a huge. I don't know.
I'm with you 100% in the sense that this is a wrong casting choice. I think Leto's
She doesn't have the juice. She can't run for shit. She's on Jimmy Fallon's show saying like, "Oh, I had to learn how to run like Tom Cruise. Like I got Tom Cruise tips how to run."
She ain't running like Tom
Cruise. Horrible.
Running.
You're not buying her riding the bike.
Yeah.
She's running too slow. The entire movie is too slow. On top of that, when it comes to vocal work and audio in the movie, things are happening around them that's loud.
Yeah.
Or you're in a loud vehicle, or there's something happening or crashing behind you, and they're not speaking loud enough. There was a disconnect between what the animation was that we're visually seeing to what was going on in the green screen room when they were filming.
Yes.
And the actual proper emotion wasn't there. And it was weird, and it didn't sell it. It made those scenes fall flat. The forced chemistry was terrible.
Yeah.
But Legacy did well. It's a PG film, and you've got this actor, Garrett Hedlund, that no one knows, falling in love with one of like with Olivia Wilde. And you see it. They actually take their time in the film to do it.
Yeah.
They didn't take their time in this movie.
Yeah, they did not take their time. I feel like the arc of Ares, the arc of Greta Lee's character, Eve Kim, really just like it gets lost in the mix of this being a Terminator movie. You know what I mean? When you think about Terminator, we're not getting really deep.
And not
arcs.
Terminator 2, folks.
Yeah, it's not Terminator 2. Even though this is definitely that car scene was trying to be Terminator 2, you know.
Right.
A robot in the vehicle. Let me tell you, it's just really, really rough.
It's just falling. And but the biggest thing, kind of towards the end of the film and then walking out, it was the earn thing.
Yeah,
the chemistry
was not earned.
Or what they loved towards each other wasn't earned, and the laughter wasn't earned because it does try to be funny, not.
Completely
kind of frequently tries to be funny.
That's what I'm saying. After a while, halfway through, he just turns on the personality, and the jokes come out of nowhere.
Well,
not tastelessly, but like it was just kind of like what?
Even
like,
Greta Lee's secretary.
Yeah,
he was horrible. Horrible
awful,
addition.
Awful. The perfect encapsulation of modern Disney writing of just like this character has nothing but the quips. And it's just like, all right.
It is post-Marvel, you're so right.
Yeah. It's just quip writing. I mean, that literally was the entire character. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I would have been more okay if they had a cat in a backpack. Like everybody needs the toy selling thing than the whole comedic side piece.
Sure.
Because in the post-Marvel world, everyone needs a comedic
Bit
side
from
piece.
The first one. Just, I don't know, bring Bit into the real world.
Yeah, it wasn't selling it. That, I mean, okay.
Yeah. But
shitting on it a lot. I mean, I still enjoyed the film a little
bit.
Yeah.
Why don't I get us back to the middle a little bit? While a lot of these pieces, not only would I prefer them being in the grid versus the real world, I really do think they would be elevated quite a bit because when we're in the grid, we're seeing something new. It's the exact same hook that I brought up with Legacy of just like, there's a huge amount of time to the development of this world. What has happened with this world? What has happened since technology that dictates how the society works has changed fundamentally? Both while watching the movie and reflecting on it after, I just had this feeling that everything we got on the grid was still great. There were some cool concepts introduced, and most importantly, that's where the soundtrack really shined. I think a great example of this, for instance, a great scene that I enjoyed was showing some corporate hacking to steal some secrets. In the real world, it's Dillinger just typing some commands on a screen. But in the grid, that transforms and is presented as an awesome SWAT infiltration heist that came out of nowhere. I was like, it's probably my favorite scene in the movie. Like, that was an awesome scene.
Right.
And just a great, in concept, how the mundane of how we interact with computers has a different world in the grid. That's the concept of Tron, and I feel like that scene captured it.
Yeah, and it should have been so much more in the movie.
Yeah.
Another thing I was excited about, and honestly, I just kind of took it for verbatim now after the style of the 2010 film, and when I knew we were sticking in the style, you could tell that they were going for that. I was just going to enjoy or looking forward to a grid that was more filled in.
Yeah.
When you watch the 82 version, the visuals are so crap.
Right.
And there's just block things, there's very blocky things going on. 2010 comes up, and it's like, whoa, look at this now.
Yeah, it's cyberpunk.
But when you watch it, there's still not a lot going on screen. It's still only a few characters on screen, and it's not filled in. There's not a lot of details still in the world. And I thought they were just going to take an extra step and be like, it looks like you're in a city, but the most crazy futuristic neon city.
Absolutely.
I was just excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thought it was a given. The grid. What does the grid in 2025 look like? And apparently looks like just like you said, Toronto in the real world.
For real. But I will say the praise for the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, like you said, you even prefer it to the Daft Punk soundtrack.
Whoa.
I thought you said that.
Yeah, maybe. It's just, I'm toying around with the idea. I don't know.
It's all right. Nine Inch Nails is still around. Daft Punk retired.
I was in Target. I literally bought the Nine Inch Nails album today or yesterday.
That's great. That's great.
No, both are great. Both are fantastic.
Yeah, here I would say it's at its best in the grid because it matches those cool visuals with giving us a glimpse at, again, how the music has changed with so much technological development. The soundtrack is seriously great here. A lot less orchestral and a lot more just punching synths.
Yeah.
That
opening theme is sick.
Yeah,
it's like a cool neon James Bond opening almost.
Yeah, a little bit. Absolutely,
I was digging it.
Yeah, especially the training of it.
Literally smiling.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes of the movie, I was in. By the way,
He's hooked. But I feel like it's interesting because I would expect the opposite out of these two because Reznor and Ross are in the film score world, I would expect this to be the more orchestral one and the Daft Punk one to be a lot more synthy. Really, Nine Inch Nails, their blend of more industrial, more techno elements gave a much harder soundtrack to it and gave a lot of scenes some serious punch. I felt like this was full with bangers.
It felt very respectful towards Daft Punk, though.
Yeah.
And what they created for the new Tron era.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
definitely stuck in a lane.
Yeah, without getting too deep into even some of the songs, you look at that Punk score, there's pretty much 2 to 3 melodies that are strung throughout almost all the songs.
Yeah.
Same thing here. You have the main title track. That's honestly woven into a lot of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more, volume count. There's a lot more tracks specifically on this as well. Side note, I would say, and last thing with Nine Inch Nails doing this, this is my official request for Reznor and Ross to do the score of a John Carpenter movie, some sort of John Carpenter remake. If they remake The Thing at some point, this soundtrack showed me they could capture a very deep synthy vibe.
Oh yeah.
And I would say they would. That is just my. I don't think it's gonna happen. Not that I would even want a John Carpenter remake out of nowhere, but if they do, they got it in these two. So. I think where my criticism moves, though, from preference for how this movie could have played out into actually bad and painful qualities is all in that casting, though. And we've talked about it a good amount. Greta Lee and Jared Leto have just exactly zero chemistry on scene. Both of their characters just have a problem with not emoting enough on screen. And then, well, I'm sure it was done to, make them look cool. You put them together, it doesn't solve the issue. And then it feels like halfway through the film, they realize that. They realize, wow, this was, they have nothing going on. And we're actually trying to position them in, a somewhat romantic way. That you want to talk about Clue going over my head? That went over my head. It just feels like production caught wind at some point. They smelled it on this, and a little too late. And that's where we get some horrifically bad scenes like the car scene I mentioned earlier, where Leto is just vomiting exposition at Lee's character, and just some of the most forced chemistry I've seen on screen in a while. For me, Greta Lee wasn't too bad. I completely get where you're coming from.
She was miscast.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying she was
that
bad.
The whole thing was that really is
miscast. Jared Leto wasn't miscast in my opinion. It makes sense, but I can see why you would cast. Here's
a nitpick. Why does he have a beard? Why does he have a beard? No one has a beard in the grid. Yeah.
Jeff Bridges have a beard. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, no, he does have a beard.
Okay, so.
No, but he's human. He's
Jared
human.
Leto is fine.
We're going back.
Jared Leto is fine. It's just that Greta Lee was miscast.
Yes.
She was miscast completely. But by the way, main bad guy, Julian Dillinger, Evan Peters, no thank you. Once again, when Tron Legacy came out, there was already an idea for a third film. If you do deep research, that idea for that third film with Kaczynski directing was kind of dynamite, involving Cillian Murphy. Hello.
Yeah.
But then that dropped. Now we have this, and it's just all these movies are trying to just like. Who's the present day bad guys? Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Let's get nerdy guys and make those bad guys. But on screen, you don't feel the fear.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't translate.
Absolutely. I feel like it just across the board casting was a miss.
Completely.
It really was. I mean, even minor characters. I don't want to go too deep, but there's Cameron Moynihan, I think his name is. He's been in like Star Wars projects a bunch. Completely throwaway. Complete throwaway.
I can't even stand Hassan Minaj.
Oh, right.
And yet he's
should have been the comedic relief.
Yes.
He should have absolutely replaced the quips every second character.
Yeah, I didn't mind him in this film because everyone else was just not doing it.
But it just feels like none of these kind of understood the character. And I kind of point to the fact that the second half of this movie feels drastically different in some key areas. It really made me wonder if this was maybe victim to some reshoots, some victim to some post-edit rearranging that maybe eliminated some small but important building blocks to character motivations or how we got to know the characters. Across the board, it just feels like there's just a main disconnect, and no one illustrates that more than Ares and Jared Leto himself, where out of nowhere he just starts showing personality and just like way too much of it as well, to the point that it becomes off-putting. And I just feel like something was seriously unearned. I think you said unearned previously. Like unearned is all the characters, and
that's exactly right.
You know, I'm not expecting like again a very dramatic arc in a Tron movie. or emotional arc, I should say. Maybe that's because Disney is hoping, one last time they can spin it off into more movies. So we mentioned it already. There is definitely some sequel bait weaved into this. So maybe they were just, I don't know, they want to put that character development or earn that in a in a longer span of these movies. For that to happen, we would have to care about a single character on screen, and I don't care about a single character on screen. I'm not even saying that, again, that wasn't even a strength of the last two films. Mm-hmm. But when you don't have me in the grid, that's why the grid's the key. If I'm in the grid, who cares about character arcs? We're getting to know the world. The world is the arc. Here, nothing. So I think there's a good chance I will soften on this movie. But for now, I'm really conflicted because I cannot shake the fact that I personally just would not watch this again. I really wouldn't. Not even for the soundtrack. So I'm conflicted where to put it. 3 scores stand out to me. Very far apart. We're gonna go in the middle. We're gonna go ahead. Like I said, I may soften on this. This might be something to come back to if I have the courage to face it again. But we're gonna go ahead and give Tron Ares a 49.
A 49%. Very cheeky score. 49%. Wow, harsh.
It was either. Well, that's what I mean. It was either a 39, 49, or 59.
Okay, all right. Well, let me put my 2 cents in a little bit. Overall, walking away. Because bottom line, we have Tron. We have cool light things going on.
Yes.
We have some cool design going on. And we have 3D printed bad guys that are entering into the real world for 30 minutes at a time.
Right.
That's the movie.
29.
Don't hate it. I don't hate it. It was too much of the movie. We didn't spend enough time on the grid. You're right.
Yeah.
Chemistry wasn't earned. The comedy wasn't earned. And at the end of it, I walk away saying, you just want it to be cooler. Yeah. I want this movie. This movie needed to be 20% more badass.
Yeah.
20% just more awesome.
Even to your point about the rating.
PG-13. Yeah. PG-13. Make it awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were stumbling. I'm not even, again, the vocal work or the volume of them talking, it was off. Something was off. That being said, did I have a good time? I had an all right time in the movies because it's a Tron movie, and it's just like, put lights in my face, and I'm really just a kid. You could jingle keys in front of me. You know what I mean? And I'm amazed.
You cut one car with that light bike, and he's sold.
Things, and there were some odes to Legacy and to the original Tron.
Yep.
There were some odes to that. I enjoyed that. I just like the concept, the idea of computer programs interacting and being a thing in the grid. Again,
and having persona.
It does have the hooks. Everything else was just a bit of a failure. I'm cool with Jared Leto getting the part. I'm not cool with Greta Lee. They both didn't do that great. Greta Lee was really annoying to me. Really annoying. And it's not that it's like...
Especially when she's supposed to be like our emotional
There's
lead.
just 10 other actresses we could have went with.
Mm-hmm.
And like Greta Lee?
I agree.
Her running sucked.
I don't know about the running that much.
And then we come to a crescendo moment at the end, and I'm not going to give it anything away. But obviously, we're going to whatever. Somebody's kind of steps into frame, puts a leg into frame, and a badass song starts from 9 Inch Nails. It's the kicker. It's the knocker. We're about to get going. Mm-hmm. And yet, it just kind of falls flat, and Legacy didn't do that. Legacy, a song starts, they got to get to this thing, and it's like, okay, everyone's kind of in the theater shaking their head, like, let's do this.
Yep.
Or nodding their head to the music. And this just failed on so many levels. Did I have a good time? Yes. At the same time, I feel like you and I just need to make a Tron movie, Vin, to show these guys how it's done.
Oh, absolutely.
We got the music locked down already.
Absolutely.
You know who's doing our Tron movie?
Who?
Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver's great.
I mean...
Oh, that would be great.
They just should have talked to us because it needed to be 20% awesome. How do you not do that? This is just the failure of the Naked Gun, in my opinion. Like, why are you not funnier? What are you doing?
And I think it's a valid point. I know we always talk about like ratings and whatnot, like PG-13 and whatnot, but I
the
agree.
runway, bro.
I agree. That hits a little bit harder here because if it was going to try to be a little bit cooler, that's runway for it.
And part of it, it's almost like it's a domino. It is a bit of, one straw isn't going to break the camel's back. It is the entire thing of the cast not being great, the writing necessarily not being so great, the story not giving you exactly what you want. All of those things together leave you walking away being like, just come on, do it. And yet, at moments, I was smiling. I was smiling at the beginning. I walked away still saying,
I had a good time.
I'm glad I went to the movies to see this.
Okay.
I will be watching this again, by the way. I mean, you might not return to it. I'll be returning to it. Probably softening, maybe. I don't know. But I said to you in the parking lot when we left, I need there to be a fourth movie because the fourth movie is set up to be really good, actually. In my opinion.
Listen, I definitely have some thoughts on that, but,
we need to make it. I'm telling you, it's in my head already. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
That's my thought on it.
Well, shit.
First scene, Jared Leto gets run over by a car. Becomes into digital bits.
Okay. All right. Well, 49% for Tron Ares. Little harsh.
Listen, would you rather the 59?
It's not how the show works.
No, but it kind of does because I'm pretty torn on it.
I know, but you could.
I think the 49's harsh on it. I do. But I think...
I'm not saying it's not deserving of a 49. Understand? Like, this is
I think 59 is fair.
I can't tell you how much nostalgia is keeping me somewhat...
Going. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
you know what I mean?
Nostalgia is keeping you afloat on this.
And going back to Legacy after this, it just made Legacy that much better.
Sure, yeah.
Like, it added a lace. And, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
2 shoe, 1 laced it almost.
Absolutely.
So... Well, there's that, folks. I don't know. This is a long episode.
It was way
3
too
movies.
long. It was way too long.
Tron.
You're going to have to trim it.
I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was good.
This is our platform.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're the Tron nerds here.
Right. This is an episode for you and me.
If anyone's curious, the new HBO show Task is phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
It's Delco. It's the most Delco thing.
You're offending TV talk.
We just got into a huge episode where it takes place along the Lehigh River.
Oh, wow.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's got me.
Wow. It's got me.
Anyway, anything, Vin, you want to touch on for this episode with the Trons? Anything for the future?
No. Well, listen, if you haven't watched Tron or all the Trons, I would say still the series is worth jumping into because I feel like there is a lot of cool world building here, a lot to enjoy in the ways that I love about like animated projects. Just like a being introduced to something new, being introduced to the world building of this concept of a digital grid. So really, really give it a shot if you haven't, maybe regardless of some of these scores. Next week, it's looking like we got a 3-spot, but all new movies. I'm looking to tackle After the Hunt, which is the new Guadagnino film.
That has Andrew Garfield in it.
Yep.
And
Ayo Edebiri. I always forget.
Ayo Edebiri.
Yep.
But also, it's not Sarah Jessica Parker. Julia Roberts.
Yes, Julia Roberts. No, I'm with you. Always get those two confused.
Yes.
But
they're going hard on the press tour.
Yeah.
Those three. They're really trying to build the whole chemistry thing.
Yeah. So interested for it. Like I said in our kind of our 2025 wrap-up or preview, I don't know. I think it's kind of been there, done that as far as the topic of the story, but we'll see. I also want to fit in Good Fortune, which is a comedy with Keanu Reeves and a whole bunch of other people. Looks kind of funny, honestly. I think I'm going to be charmed by it. Last but not least, Tom and I are seeing A House of Dynamite, the new film from Catherine Bigelow, and very, very excited because this has been extremely hyped, and I'm excited that we can fit it in before its technical Netflix release, so we'll be early to the punch for the review. If you should check it out.
We're going to go see it in a small local theater. Very excited for that one, and I really want to say heads or tails from it. There was some mixed reporting coming out because it also did play at New York Film Festival with some mixed reviews.
Oh, really?
But we'll share that next week.
Yeah. Interesting.
But regardless, Vin, thank you so much for stepping into the grid for this episode. And thank you for these reviews and stopping by this evening. Folks at home, we'll run it down one more time. We've got the OG Tron with a 65%, Tron Legacy with a 70%, and Tron Ares with a bit of a disappointing 49%. Folks, thank you so much for stopping by week after week. It's always a blast hanging out with you. We'll see you on Tuesday for the new show, and we'll have Vincent Daly right back here next week, next Thursday on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.